Shirley, if you're speaking, you're muted.
That would help if I unmute myself. So welcome back, everybody. We have a minute. We're gonna give one more minute for everyone to trickle in.
Not right now.
And for those who can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. It's just to check my audio. Thank you. All right. It's a long minute. Hope everyone had a great summer. I know it was too short. At least mine was too short. Could have been longer. All right. 9:35. We're going to start. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome new members, returning members. Today is Thursday, September 14th, 9:30 a.m. is the commencement of our Chancellor Parent Advisory Council General Membership Meeting. This is the current board members. I'm going to say it out loud because this is a new year, a new school year. I'm speaking. My name is Shirley O'Ban. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Chancellor Parent Advisory Council. We have Randy Garay. She's on. She's the second co-chair. So say good morning, Randy.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back.
Thank you. First vice chair is Jimmy Brown.
Good morning, everyone.
Our second vice chair is Jazzy Rivera. If you can't say good morning, say good morning. She is on. Our recording secretary is Gladys Gomez.
Good morning, it's Jazzy.
Thank you, Jazzy. Good morning. Our treasurer is Lidio Esposito. Corresponding secretary is Angela Torres.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. And our live stream coordinator is Charlene Dawson, but she's not on the platform yet. Right, so CPAC's meeting procedures and standing rules. I'll give a minute for everyone to review them. These rules are on our website. And Randy, would you like to, I'll give them a minute, but you would like to summarize the rules for us, please?
We'd like everyone here to be respectful and courteous. We can have agreements and disagreements, but we want to make sure that everybody's respectful to one another. Please raise your hand if you have a question. Don't just unmute yourself. We will get to you in the order that you raised your hand. 2 minutes for speaking. If someone else had already spoken, we will leave that segment and move to the next one, and then we will rotate in order of speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to do roll call. As we said, if you haven't done so before, please place your district or borough president's council in front of your name. District 3.
Here.
District 5. I saw Aisha. I see her. Okay, she's here. District 8. I don't see Erica. District 17.
I'm here. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Veronica. District 20. District 21.
Present.
District 22.
I'm here. Hi.
Good morning. District 25. I see Rachel.
Good morning.
District 28. I see Adriana.
Good
Bronx High.
morning, present.
Good morning. Bronx High School. I'm sorry, I skipped 30. Lydia, I saw you, right? I mean, not Lydia, Becca.
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you. Bronx High Schools. Okay, probably come on later. Manhattan High Schools, Rosa, I see you. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm
Good morning.
here.
And Queens High School, which is myself, is here. Thank you. And thank you for being on time. We hope that everyone had a great summer. You maybe tell us a little bit more about your summer, a little bit towards the end. This is our agenda for today. We're going to handle CPAC business and updates. We're going to hear from Deputy Chancellor of School Leadership, Danica Rux. We're going to have the Division of Instructional and Information Technology. Most of us know them as DIIT. Will be speaking to us. Someone from Transportation, I think it's Rishbrook, from Office of Pupil Transportation. We're going to have face updates. We're going to hear from our fabulous Chancellor. And then we are going to have a new segment called Settles Not So Secret Gems. It's an empowerment session for us parent leaders, for us presidents, councils, to bring back and to help empower our PAPTAs. Okay. So first order of business is to review June 8 minutes. Everyone was sent the minutes. August actually was sent this morning, but it'll be on the screen. So here we go. And when you're ready, please make the motions to adopt our minutes if there's no corrections or questions on them.
I motion to adopt the minutes.
Okay,
And
we
if
have
it's
this.
I can second it.
That's Rosa and Jimmy.
Yes.
Yes.
So District 3 in Manhattan High Schools. Thank you. Anyone who opposes to adopt the minutes or abstain at this time, please let us know. Any questions? Okay, I think we're good. So we're gonna go to the next set of minutes. August 10th. I'll leave them a little longer. Okay, I say hands up. Rachel?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a big deal, but I noticed at the end, it says that the next meeting is at 10 a.m., but we're actually having it at 9:30.
Yeah, we'll fix that. Yeah, because the August meeting was at 9:30. I was at 10. Yes, thank you. We'll fix that. Would you like to make a motion to adopt with that correction?
Yes, I make a motion to adopt with that correction.
Thank you. Will somebody second that?
I can second the motion.
All right, thank you, Manhattan High Schools. Next order of business. It's a memorandum. It's not a, what do you call it? It's not a resolution or position letter. We already passed resolutions and position letters on this. This is, you were all sent this as well. The memorandum of opposition to the bill for the school leadership team. It's very short.
I motion to accept it.
All right, thank you, District 3. And who seconds that?
This is Rachel. I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Rachel, District 25. Anyone who opposes, who wants to oppose or abstain for the record?
What did you say?
Okay, the motion, the memorandum passes with approval. Well, even though technically it's not a resolution or but it's a team effort. So we're going to go right into the heart of our updates, right? CPAC's meeting dates that were shared. We're going to go over fundraising ideas. We're going to talk about expedited elections and how to fill vacancies. That is going to be addressed at Settles Not So Settled Gym. Not so hidden. I think that's how we have it. Not so secret. We're gonna talk about annual treasurer's report, the parent leadership professional developments, Title I and school leadership teams, meetings, PA, PTAs, president's councils, and SLTs, updated bylaws, and an amendment to the open meetings law. So here we go. Oh, we have more. We got a lot to talk about. CPAC's elections is going to be October 12th. CPAC's, we're going to talk about CPAC's committees. We're going to talk about, we had mentioned it last month about vacancies. There's still vacancies on the citywide community education councils, respective districts. Announcements since the summer has been going through. Please help education councils fill these seats by spreading the word. Filling student seat on same thing. Let's assist. We should be a partnership between President's Council and Education Councils. Collaboration and partnership, we're going to discuss that again. We brought that up in August, but it's very important because it will help fill these vacancies, be more effective as a team. New York City Public School calendar. We all discussed that last month. So here we go. Here are CPAC's general membership meeting dates. It's posted on the website. It should be posted on the website. And the executive board meetings for reference for membership. What the dates are. Fundraising. We have sent out, and it's on our website, another way to another, which I like, is when we have fundraisers that's no operational cost, meaning we don't have to spend money to make money. We just need to advertise. So one of those ways is the Barclays Center, which is in Brooklyn. It's the home to the Brooklyn Nets, now the home to the New York Liberties team, and they have other events like the Hot Wheels muster trucks and the ice capades, etc. This is a way to fundraise, very easy fundraise. So we had sent out that information. It's on the website. Here it is again. Just contact Mr. Joseph Dimitri. Anybody wants to, at this time, want to share other fundraising ideas that they're doing with their school or President's Council suggestions at this time? We could take one or two if anybody would like to share. Okay, give me a second because I know I see a hands up. Rosa, gotcha.
Yes, thank you so much. What I'm doing in Food and Finance High School is literally popcorn fundraising. I don't do anything other than send the information to all the parents. They create an account, buy it, it gets shipped directly to them, and we get the funds at the end of the fundraising, and that's it. Easy peasy.
Awesome. So
Thank you.
any more questions on that? And I'm pretty sure, I know there's a lot of schools out there that are doing popcorn. Contact Manhattan High School. Adriana, District 28, you have your hands up.
Good morning. The school that my son attends and a couple of other schools in our district do fundraising through Little Caesars Pizza. You sign up and they send these pizza kits that you can put together with your kids or with your family, pop them in the oven, and they're quite good. And it's a very, very low lift for PAs and PTAs, no money upfront for us, and we get a portion of that back.
Awesome, thank you. Becca, we're from District 30.
Hello, you guys can hear me. I'm still at work. But I actually have a spreadsheet on our District 30 President's Council website for all our PTAs to share their ideas, and some of them include Dine to Donate, like Chuck E. Cheese or Applebee's or Uno's, where you just go eat and money comes back to you, or catalog fundraisers and stuff like that.
Awesome. And a lot of these restaurants are in multiple communities, and this is, strengthening the school relationship with the communities and the community itself. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, this is the DOE website. And I think the reason why I put it on here, we have resources, right? I'm going to quote Districts 28 Family Leadership Coordinator, Sonia Rader, work smarter, not harder. The resources, the templates for the forms and reports are all located on this website. We also have it on our website as a reference as well. I think our website is a little easier to maneuver, but if you go into what's being called now the family website and get involved on top, you're gonna see homepage, get involved families. Then specifically, if we want to talk about parent teacher associations, I said the members, the office, elections, grievance, everything regarding our associations is here on the website, even CPAC, President's Council. If you need information on school leadership teams, it's there. Get involved, families, choose school leadership team. Same thing for the education council. They're there, there's forms here, A660. And those forms and the A660, the A655 are in multiple languages. So one of the responsibility of the school and the association is to be more effective communication is providing materials in the language of the family that speak in your school. So this is one of the easiest ways to translate your A660 for your families, and then just fill in the rest if we're you. And then you have the PA-PTA resource folders, which has the interim reports, ballots, how to do meetings, your meeting notifications, very simple. They're all there. And again, this is a CPAC, we could help each other. And the goal is to support each other so we can support our schools in our district, in our borough. Give me 1 second. Just wanna make that cool. All right, we're moving on. Parent University, again, that's on the website. Again, there's like videos and courses that you can sign up to refresh yourself or gain knowledge to empower, so we can empower our families and advocates. So there's multiple ways. And I know that, and Anthony will talk about that stuff. Family leadership coordinator, family support coordinators, parent coordinators, there to support, partner them up to do training at the school level, professional development at the school level, and at the district level and the borough level. Again, here, GOE website, you want to know about meals, transportation, special education, technology, it's all here. To access, you could access your New York City's student account on NISCA, is for brief saying for your child's academic progress, their report card. And I'm hearing that Gamma is actually up and running. I haven't seen evidence of it, but it is up and supposed to be up and running or very shortly. And when DIIT comes on, we can ask them about that. All right, Title I school leadership team. There's going to be 3 main points. The first point, that if you're a Title I PAC chair, please remind your schools, if they're a Title I school, Title I PAC chair, even high school, must attend their geographic district DPAC, the District Parent Advisory Council, so they could come back and share information to their Title I PAC of their schools. Right? There's always changes, there's always updates, and they're there to support, like presidents' councils are to support their associations. So is the District Parent
Abby,
Advisory
do you still need the
Council.
link?
And I'm going to ask somebody to mute themselves. And then the other connection, Title I PAC chairs must attend school leadership team. That is one of their roles and responsibilities, so they can come back and share with the families what is going on regarding Title I, right? Title I must be aligned to the SLT, which creates the CEP, the Comprehensive Education Plan. There's a connection there. It's a must, it's a law. So the third point I'm asking is to be proactive. We've been asking that for a few years now, and we said, yes, it's coming, but it is coming. The 8655 is going to be updated to make the Title I PAC chair a mandatory member. So let's be proactive and say reserve one of the parent seats for that Title I PAC chair if you're a Title I PAC school. So it could be very equitable, because I know there's a lot of Title I PAC chairs. If they're not part of the elected school leadership team parent member, they are not getting remuneration, and part of their roles and responsibility is they must attend the Title I. And that's where the Title I PAC shares with the other stakeholders what is the families is talking about their ideas and how they would like to see Title I funds being spent. So it is a very important. Here, bylaws, we're going to talk about bylaws. So I'm going to speak about PTAs, right? And president's councils, PTAs, president's council. They are not subject to open meetings law. Again, they are not subject to open meetings law. However, the regs A660 was updated November 18th, 2021. All bylaws should have been updated to reflect these changes. But there are some who have not updated the bylaws. And in those bylaws, right, in November 18, in the regs, they updated the format, how associations and presidents can meet. Now you are allowed to meet virtually, hybrid, or in person, or you could do a combination of both. but only if you updated your bylaws. And I say only because the pandemic is over. There's no more waivers. The last waiver expired June 19th. So it's back to the new normal. So if your bylaws do not contain that you can hold your meetings hybrid, virtual, or in person, you cannot go virtual or hybrid until your bylaws reflects those changes. The bylaws are the governing body of your association, which does not contradict the regs. So if you haven't updated the bylaws, please do so as soon as possible. It's almost 2 years since the revision of the A660, and you must meet in person to update those bylaws. And then once they are updated, you can have the option and to meet whatever format you like. And you don't have to choose. It doesn't have to be one or the other for the whole school year. You can alternate. 1 month is virtual, 1 month is hybrid, 1 month is in person, but that's for membership. Well, pandemic is not over, but it's not to the point that that we cannot meet in person. So that's why there's no waivers, right? The bottom line is, and I don't want to get into that. The COVID-19 is like the flu now. It's going to be around forever. So like it's going to be forever. It is in the same family. So the COVID-19 really is not going away. But we of course we will have to do our due diligence and I'm reading the chat, so that's why I'm pausing. I'm not going to get into that, but the doctors said COVID-19 is not going to go away. It's going to be around forever. So can have a discussion later about that offline. So let's stay on topic. Here we go. Bylaws. Now, any questions regarding the bylaws for PAPTAs and President's Council? Okay, so we're all good to go. Now we're going to talk about SLT bylaws, and that's going to tie in to the open meetings law. So all of us sit on a school leadership team, and most of us all sit on district leadership team, which are not subject to open meetings law. Only the school leadership team is, right? Subject to open meetings law, and it was amended in January. So that one of the amendments in January is that for hybrid meetings, that hybrid portion is for the team members, right? For those who have extenuating circumstances or extreme circumstances, but quorum must be met in person. So bottom line, SLTs are in person, unless there's extenuating circumstances, which is outlined in your bylaws. If your bylaws don't have hybrid, they don't detail what's considered extreme circumstances, then that option is not available for you. Now, another amendment to the open meetings law that all school leadership team must have a video conferencing for observers. I see SLT is in person. Yes, it's in person. It's like I said, there's no more waivers. Quorum must be met in person. They're subject to open meetings law. The exception to that, if you have in your bylaws, if you put hybrid and detail what is considered an extenuating circumstance, right? And they give reference to some things. It's the extenuating circumstances why you can't physically come into the building, right? You might have broken your leg and you can't physically come to the building. That is an extenuating circumstance. For that month or months that your leg is in a cast and you can't walk, that's an example. You can be virtual, but you do not count as quorum. Quorum must be held in person. That's the law. Quorum is only met in person. Now, there's a virtual, the second part of that is there's amendment is that the video conferencing or you want a virtual, must have for all SLTs 4 observers, those who are not team members. So they will have the option to come in person. Please mute yourself, in person, or observe from a virtual platform, or the SLT can live stream like we do on YouTube, Facebook, etc., whatever is best for that school, for that SLT. But they must have a video conferencing component for observers, not team members. Right? That is what must happen there. Any questions on that? Are SLT minutes shared with all school members or just among SLT members? We're going to have to do a training on that. SLT members should get the minutes. Observers, anybody, it don't even have to be school members either. Anybody from the public can ask for the minutes. It's under the FAW Act, and the SLT has five days to fulfill that request. But it's going to vary from SLT to SLT. Some of them just put it on the website for people to see, but anyone can get the minutes if requested. Do meetings need to be recorded? Well, it depends on what you mean recorded. The language in the regs, when they mean recorded, that notes are taken and there's a written document of the actions taken by that organization, right? If you mean recorded, like video recording, then you can for minute purposes, but the amendment to the law says that it's not necessarily recorded, but you must have a virtual component or video component to the SLT meeting for observers if they so choose to attend virtually. You can live stream it if it is also an option. All right, so I'm gonna stop here because our first speaker, and then we'll come back. Our first speaker is here and we wanna respect their time. I'm going to make her co-host first. I'm gonna stop sharing. So with us this morning, we have the pleasure of having the Deputy Chancellor of School Leadership here with us is Danica Rux. And I'm going to give Ms. Rux the floor.
Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here with you all on this morning. I see some familiar faces, Rosa. Hi, Rosa. I see Aisha, District 5, and some other folks who I've had the pleasure to meet along my journey. I am Danica Rux, Deputy Chancellor for the Division of School Leadership. And one of the things that people always ask is, what do you do? Like, what does that mean? What do you do? Rosa, stop laughing. So I support the 45 superintendents that we have across New York City, including our high school superintendents and our community school superintendents. I am a thought partner. I am their evaluator. I am the one who is pushing them along the way and always helping them to see the work through different sets of eyes, through the eyes of a principal, through the eyes of a student, through the eyes of a parent. That is what we do. We support them with navigating Central, right? Which when I came here, I realized, wow, this is a huge operation. And at times it gets difficult in navigating and finding and connecting the right superintendent with the resources that they need for their district or for a particular school at that. I am joined today with our chiefs, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves to you all so that you can hear a little bit more about which districts they support and how the work is going. So without much further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Danielle Domingo.
Good morning, everyone.
And let me just say, Danielle Domingo is a new chief. Larry Pendergast, who many of you may know, recently retired. And so we are honored and privileged to have Danielle, who is an experienced superintendent, join the team, always trying to find the best of the best. And she is one of the best, and she is part of our team now.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rux. I am so excited to be here. And Shirley, I am so excited to see you in this venue. I know that we have worked together in so many spaces and places, and you are a true parent leader. And I'm hopeful and very excited to learn from all of you at CPAC, as much as the collaboration that we've had together, Shirley. So really excited to be here and to engage in work with CPAC. Thank you so much for having me. In my new job, which I just started last Tuesday, I will be supporting superintendents in the Bronx, Manhattan, and Queens North. So I will still be in District 25 and many of the districts that I was also used to working in Queens. And then we'll be spending time really advancing my knowledge of districts and schools across New York City. And I'm really excited to have the opportunity to do that. So I support districts 1, 2, 3, 4, well, 1 through 12, and then 24, 25, 26, 30, and District 75. So I have lots to learn, and parents are such a huge part of this process. I'm going to put my email and contact information in the chat, and I'm hoping to hear from all of you. I would love to just hear from you and support the work that you are already doing as parent leaders across your districts. So thank you for having me today, and I'm looking forward to continuing to build our relationship.
Awesome. Thank you.
Dr. Pate?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to just have an opportunity to hear the voices of community and family, and just an opportunity to collaborate around the work, and knowing that the importance in my belief and ideology is that the knowledge is absolutely in the room. We just have to create spaces and places for us to do the needed work to listen and to hear one another. So this represents that very thought process and belief. I am the Chief of School Support for districts 13 through 23, 27, 28, 29, 31, and 32. So as DC Rux said, I serve as a thought partner, a collaborator, roll my sleeves up and get into the trenches to do the work. And it's what I love, which is ensuring that the educational experience for students, but also families, is top notch, the best that it can be.
Thank you.
Dr. Lindsay?
She's on mute. You're on mute.
I'm sorry,
No
something
worries.
happened with my computer. Good morning, everyone. Please bear with me. I am suffering. I'm here, but I'm so excited to be with you, having a little vertigo issues. But I did not want this day to go by without having an opportunity to actually come in and just share and just be a part. So excited about this school year. Really disappointed that illness would decide to attack vertigo of all things at the beginning of the school year. But we are here to support, looking forward to continuing the work that we started. As the chief of high schools, I support all of the high school superintendents across New York City, and also supporting D79, which is the adult continuing ed superintendent. Just again, we are a thought partner, collaborator, supporting the work, looking to continue to work and supporting and working with CPAC and hearing and supporting the parents. It's an exciting year, a lot of great things that are going on, working with our chiefs and just doing what we do to ensure that parents and students are receiving all that they can to be successful, especially in this time and in moving forward. So I'm looking forward to the work. So just bear with me as my head is just kind of spinning right now. I'm a little woozy because if anyone knows anything about vertigo, it's not one of the, it's really bad. And this is my second day, but my head is really spinning. So I'm trying to not move back and forth, but I'm looking forward to the work. Just the same work that happens with the the other chiefs, but my work is with the high school superintendents, and I'm just looking forward to this school year and the work that we're going to do together. Thank you for this space.
So I just want to share a couple other things with you all. Number one, all professional development for superintendents, deputy superintendents, principals comes through DSL. That is one of our primary roles. The other is that all pipeline programs, and what I mean by that is any internal programs that we have to support transitions from a teacher to a AP or AP to a principal to a superintendent, internal programs, that all comes from our office. Attendance and wellness, that also lives under DSL, as well as touch points for vulnerable schools. So CSI, TSI schools, those supports come through the Division of School Leadership. So I want to introduce Kim Ramones, who she was on the call right here. Kim Ramones, you can see her. Wave your hand, Kim. She is our chief of staff. So if anyone at any time wants to get to me quickly, you should reach out to Kim Ramones, and she will be able to support us with making the connections to anyone on my team. Again, a pleasure to be here with you all, and just really appreciative of the opportunity to introduce myself and the team to you all. Looking forward to hearing more from you all. Parents are the lifeline of the system, and looking forward to those opportunities. Be well.
Thank you. Thank you for Dr. Rux, Dr. Pate, Dr. Lindsay, Ms. Domingo, all chiefs. Thank you for the introduction so our families could get to meet you. Thank you for accepting our invitation to the platform, and we appreciate it, and we're looking forward to working with you in collaboration as the families across the city. And thank you so much. Adriana asks who is District 28's rep, and I believe is Dr. Pate. Am I correct? Chief is chiefs. They're chiefs. I believe
Yes,
that's
that is Dr.
Yes,
Pate.
I am.
That
That's
is Dr.
correct.
Pate. And if you want, we can send a breakdown of who supports which districts that you can circulate so everyone knows exactly who their person is with the email address as well. Would that be helpful?
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
And we'll send the structure of DSL as well, so that you know all of the work streams that lives under DSL.
I got one question, I'm pretty sure, for the families. Could you tell us what DSL stands for? We love our acronyms, right? So what does that mean?
Yeah. Division of School Leadership.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So thank you so much again, and it'll be a pleasure, and we're looking forward to hearing from you again. Thank you.
Thank you
And
so
your
much.
team. Thank
Okay,
you.
be well.
Bye-bye. So Randy, do you see, we can go back because we're ahead to what we're speaking about, because I don't see is DIIT here? They're not supposed to come on until like 10:30, correct? So
I should have been here for 10:10, but I don't know.
okay, Anthony, is DIIT here?
I don't know as of yet. I'm looking, but I've not seen them.
Okay, so we do have some of her team members. I see someone is asking questions. You want to ask a specific question? I think DIT is coming on now. Anybody who want to, besides Adriana, she put it in the chat. That's why I asked the question. I'm going to use the acronym DSL for Division of School Leadership. You want to ask any of these team members any questions? Face probably can answer those questions, but if you have questions, here we are. Some of the team members are still here. Not everyone has. If you're thinking of any questions, put it in the chat. So, Ms. Dull, Anne-Marie Dull, are you here from DIT?
Yes, and I apologize. Ali Khan, who is our technical specialist on all of this, was supposed to come. He literally just texted me. He's out sick. He has no voice. He tried to talk to me. He couldn't. He had somebody speak to me for him. So I'm going to do my best to be here, and I will document and take back all of the questions that you have. But unfortunately, I'm just not going to be able to speak to as much of the technical aspect of this as he was, but I will do my best to address any issues and concerns that you have.
Well, thank you, and we thank you for stepping in, substituting for Mr. Khan. We know Mr. Khan.
Yes, so you know, if he's missing a meeting with you guys, he's not okay. So
Thank you so much.
appreciate that.
So we're going to give you the floor, Ms. Doe.
Sure. So I believe Ali previewed some of this with you back in the spring, but in order to align to our new safety and security measures, especially around cybersecurity and cyber safety, we are no longer going to be supporting the use of shared accounts for parent leaders. So those are the like PS123 at pta@schools.nyc.gov. There are a number of reasons behind this, but most of it has to do with, again, the shared accounts, with being able to, you know, change passwords and move things over. We're just and to align to our security and safety measures, cybersecurity and cyber safety measures, we'll be moving away from those accounts and we won't be supporting them. But what we are going to do is provide all parent leaders with accounts that are called @DOEexternal.nyc accounts. And what these accounts do, they function to the greatest extent just like a DOE account. It is a DOE issued account, and you'll be able to access Zoom, all Google Suite applications, and in addition to that, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. And so over the next like 90 days or so, it's a sort of a working timeline, but about 90 days or so, what we'll do is we're working with schools. The schools will be the ones to create those email accounts for you. So if anything changes over the course of the school year, if somebody has to step away or we have a new parent leader joining us, the schools will be able to create those accounts for you pretty quickly. It only takes them just a couple of minutes, and then it only takes about a day or so for them to kick in. So we're working with schools to train them on how to do that. It's a pretty simple process, but we're spending these weeks now doing that. And then beginning in about the middle of October, we'll give all parent leaders about 30 days. So parent leaders will get their new @DOE external accounts. And then about 30 days after that, we'll start to take away the access to the shared DOE accounts. And so for those 30 days, any of the information that you have in the shared DOE accounts, the schools will support you in moving all of that information over that you need. We're putting together some tips of the types of things that you want to keep over, some sort of best practices for how to like download the stuff and move it over. So we're putting some of that together for you, and we'll be able to share that with you through this group and with all of our parent leaders. And then once around that 30-day time window when parent leaders will no longer have access to those shared accounts, the parent coordinators or somebody at the school, whoever the principal designates, will still have access to those accounts for about 60 days, just in case. So say there was a file that you thought you carried over, or someone thought that they carried over, but it didn't quite make it over, or they were looking for the email, the school will be able, somebody at the school, and the parent leaders will know who that is, somebody at the school will be able to have access to those accounts so they can start pulling that information over to help you out with. And then once that sort of general timeline ends, it'll be right around the end of this calendar year. So probably around December 31st or so, those accounts will no longer be open. So then we'll have, again, beginning in October, about a 3-month transition window away from those accounts to get everything up and running onto the new accounts. But again, with the new accounts, you'll still have access to DOE Zoom, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, and then the full G Suite of stuff. So Google Meets, Google Drive, Google Calendar, you'll have an email address through there. So you'll have access to that. So that's sort of the sort of high level gist. Are there any questions? I saw that there was one in the chat, but just give me 1 second.
Yeah, well, before we answer questions, we'll ask the questions. I'll phrase out the questions in the chat.
Perfect.
But
Thank you.
But Randy has a statement to make in behalf of CPAC membership.
So you did say that this was discussed during the spring. It was, and then it was kind of over, and we thought that you guys weren't going to make any changes. We thought that was just done because we kind of gave you like a little bit of pushback. But I find it very troubling to see the language in accordance with cybersecurity and safety guidance. Parent leaders, meaning both PA, PTAs, presidents' councils, Title I PACs, and DPAC chairs, will no longer have access to their existing shared at schools email accounts beginning October 28th. The accounts will be fully disabled on December 23rd. To replace these accounts, parent leaders will each be issued a new DOE external account beginning September 21st. So I know it's not you. What information do you not want us to see? And why wouldn't you want it to be transparent with our children's education? Parent leader accounts had nothing to do with the data breach and should not be the scapegoat for that issue. It's honestly a poor excuse to change these accounts to keep us separated and excluded from accessing information. Why would DIIT decide to make this random change and in the beginning of the school year, which is the busiest time for parents, superintendents, principals, FLCs, FSCs, and parent coordinators, forcing them to make these ridiculous changes, enabling and disabling individual email accounts in September shows how completely disconnected you are with the public school system. These at school parent leader accounts have been active for decades with multiple changes in administrations. Disabling these accounts now shows that there is a distrust amongst the DOE and parent leaders, which does not align with Chancellor David Banks' fourth pillar, which is engaging families to be true partners, which in and of itself is a powerful pathway to building trust. After the PEP unanimously passed the revisions to the A660, which my co-chair Shirley and I were a part of, which we were very happy to be a part of, we communicated with parent leaders across the city to utilize their at-schools email address for communication with the DOE, elected officials, vendors we do business with, President's Council, PA, PTA financials, banking logins, PayPal, Zelle, Venmo, social media accounts, distribution lists, Zoom accounts in which meetings are set up for the entire school year and links have already been shared with families. Parent leaders are responsible for retaining 6 years of records, including emails, and the turnover of individual email accounts would negatively impact this requirement. Now you choose to cause disruption and chaos to the parent leaders across the city who selflessly volunteer to support all New York City public schools. So did you know that in the 21-22 school year, PAs and PTAs across the city raised over $52 million and had an ending balance of over $61 million? That's amazing that parent leaders go above and beyond anyone's expectations to supplement funds due to the constant budget cuts to education. So we as parent leaders, we know our worth and we should be valued by the DOE as true partners in our children's education. But instead we're being told that due to cybersecurity and safety guidance, we're losing the current form of communication and being transitioned into a less informative communication. Also, I don't think for 1 second that any parent is going to divulge their date of birth or their driver's license number to create an individual email account. Based on the recent incidents, the DOE has shown that they are unable to safeguard personal information. So I really hope that you reconsider this change due to all the information that I've shared with you today and the fact that no conversation regarding this change was discussed with parent leaders at the table. But if there's an absolute must that you must do this, it's simple. They should be changed and merged from at schools.nyc.gov to at doeexternal.nyc. It shouldn't be individual members with accounts. It makes it much more difficult for FLCs, FSCs, and parent coordinators to set up and keep track of enabling, disabling accounts. That seems to be a higher risk for hacks. So I hope that you really do reconsider this. We did think that this was over in the beginning when it was first discussed, and it really does not build trust or any form of shared information or anything with parents. So that's all.
I see Rosa have your hands up, but I'm going to add to that. First, to add to that is have been talking this morning about working smarter, not harder. Individuals do not own the PAPTA President's Council or their bank accounts. Individual or President's Council, it belongs to the association. They all have their own tax ID number. They are an entity, therefore should have their own email address. We are volunteers. We are not the association. We are not President's Council. We are not DPAC. We're not Title I PAC. We are not those entities who have their own, with the exception of Title I, have their own tax ID numbers or employee identification number. Under tax law, they are considered an identity. Therefore, they should be doing business with their business email address, just like the school. I mean, it does, or DOE has its separate for the financials. So we should not be using our personal, and even if it's a DOE, it's still ours, personal in the emails, and it should be the entity's emails on the financials, which goes again against the regs that were passed in 2021, that we are required to use the entity, our association, our President's Council, DOE email, whether it's at schools.nyc.gov, or it is a DOE external email. They are supposed to, it is supposed to have their individual emails. And that's what should be on our financials. And again, the whole reason why it was turned that way, because of transfer of records. It made it very easier to transfer those records, right? And have access to the financials. You know, I think there's other priorities that DIIT should be taking. Like I said, I heard rumors that Gamma is live or about to be live soon, which was a mess forever, right? There's still a disconnect with the website and the NISCA account. When you log in, it says there was an error, but if you hit the PAC button, you are logged in. I mean, those glitches and little things, how about we fix that instead of just a cosmetic look of the website or the apps first? And then, and again, more importantly, no conversation, no real conversation was held with families regarding this change. And again, I'm going to repeat, which is very important, what Randy said, it goes against pillar number 4. And this is probably the problem with communication. Usually at a central level, individual departments are in silos. They are not speaking to each other and don't see the full effect that's going to happen to the families and students of the New York City Public Schools. So Rosa, real quick.
Thank you so much. And as you can see right now, I am like panicking because Manhattan High School's President's Council, we already planned the whole year's link. Everything has already been sent to our families since August. So now I also hold a couple of other DOE parent leadership roles that I have already set up the whole year. And how many possible emails can one person, me, can I have? Because I'm in the CEC, I'm in the President's Council, I'm in the PTA. So like, am I gonna have like 5 DOE emails? So I'm having like a heart attack right now because there's so much that I can possibly handle. You know what I mean? Everything has already been planned. Now I have to apologize to all my families. I'm so sorry, you know. Now we're gonna have a new email and use different type of emails. Like I'm out of words. Look at me rambling and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am truly panicking right now. Please reconsider this.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for that, Rosa. And the other part about working smarter, I'm just going to take PAPTAs. We have a little over 1,800 schools. So we're going to say 1,800. And we're only going to go with the mandatory members, right? You know, which is 3, president, treasurer, secretary. A lot of our associations have more than one, more than the mandatory members. So 1,800 times 3, and that's just presidents. That's associations. Then you have president's councils. Then you have TPAC. You putting all that work, all that weight on the school level, which is short staff. Every school don't have a parent coordinator. The schools have individuals that's doing multiple roles. The one that they got hired for and other people's roles with vacancies. I mean, this is a hardship for the families, but it's all the hardship for the entire school community as well. You know, I think that this was the ones who it affected was not addressed in this point. And Ms. Dole, you don't need to have your hands up. Go ahead. You can speak, and then
I
we're
don't want
gonna.
to interrupt. I don't want to interrupt. I really want to listen, and I'm taking notes, and I'll take everything back. One of the questions that I had is, I heard one of the things that you said, that if we do have to continue and still move forward with this, you raised an issue about having these PTA or certain entities that have their own tax ID and employee ID number, and that they're the ones who have to be, that's the email address that needs to be on the bank account. So would a solution for that, a possible solution, and I'm just raising this as an idea, I don't make these decisions, but I can bring it back as a possible solution to the group, to have, you know, again, like a PTA PS123 at DOE external account that could be attached to that specific entity. So I'm seeing no. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way if we have to move to these DOE external accounts. What other possibilities can we have to sort of alleviate some of that, especially with the concern about the tax ID attachments to, you know, to these different entities. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that to see if there was some ideas I can bring back, or some of the concerns that you have about that, so I can bring back to the group so we can come up with a solution that might be better.
Well, Randy mentioned it, but we also mentioned it to Mr. Khan back in the fall. We actually spoke to him last fall. Right? We had a conversation maybe in the spring, a little bit general membership, and, you know, a conversation with Face on the platform, and they heard the concerns and stuff right there. When I heard they were changing I'm not saying I'm a happy camper, but from a technical standpoint, all you have to do is just change the domain. If you don't want to be transparent, and this is how we taking it, right? You don't want transparency. Right? Change the domain of those emails. Don't change that the entities who under law is a person, right? Because that's who they have the assigned employee identification number to, right? The tax ID number. Just change the domain, because bottom line, when it comes to security, it is not the parents. Again, Randy didn't say it, but these emails have been in decades. Maybe the Title Ones are newer, but been in decades. The President's Councils, decades, longer than some of the people who are in DIIT been in existence. They've been employed with the New York City Public Schools. They've been around. Never, ever, it was because of security. As a matter of fact, it's the other way around. Because of New York City Public Schools, or legal name DOE, that some of us got hacked or spammed, or, you know, it's been breach of our information, and more importantly, our children's information. Had nothing to do with parent accounts. So this concentration on parent accounts, you got to see that is an insult to our integrity. It's an insult to us, right? It's an insult to us, because security issues is not from the parent stakeholders. That is not us. We will not put our children at harm. And again, it's been there for decades. None of the breaches, none of the current breaches had nothing to do with us. Your programming was it MIRT? I got the abbreviation right. Third parties such as Pupil Path, right? Those been breaches, those been the security. And bottom line, hacking, right? Students hack it. Anybody could hack any company. And so, but it has that feel as us. And then more to us is and Randy's shaking, yeah. The more to us is that you don't want us to see certain information. You think we're not paying attention? We don't see that the info hub is separate from the family website. Now there's a family website, and the info hub is separate. We see this thing. Why? Because you don't want us to see information that affects our children. And before I give Adriana the floor, for an example, New York State exams, right? That is updated in the info hub, but not on the family website. It still have last year's dates. Priorities, transparency. So our children, we don't know, so we can't plan. when those dates are? Why is that a secret? So though that is the, what's the word I'm looking for, Randy? Perception that we feel. That's the feeling that we getting. Why these emails? And I think they wanted to change the emails even prior to this group, right? They was just trying to figure out a way or a reason why to take those emails away. Adriana, and she'll be the last one, and then we're going to move on to our next speaker.
And I'm sorry, before you speak, Adriana, I apologize about the family website. I'll bring that back to our communications team. That's our central communications team. They're the ones who update that. But I'll bring that back as feedback because you should be able to see all of that information updated instantaneously. You should not have outdated dates on that. So I will take that back today and make sure that that is updated as quickly as I can get the team to do it.
Thank you, Ms. Dull. Adriana.
Thank you, Shirley. And thank you, Ms. Dull, for being here. I want to preface what I'm about to say with saying that this is not personal. This is not, I have never met you before. And I understand that you are not the person that is the end all be all or the person with the answers for this specific portion of this. I want to say publicly that we, parent leaders and parent advocates, we will not continue to be scapegoated when we are also the victim of the continuous irresponsible handling of very sensitive and very personal and private information and data that belongs to our children and belongs to us. I do not understand, I cannot understand how there is a continuous push for less and less visibility and a continuous push for diminished transparency between your government agency and us as the private citizens who act in the capacity of parent leaders, and we are volunteers. To put all of this extra work on us, bringing it down to the school level, is not only unfair, it is also kind of irresponsible. Having said that, I have a question for you regarding the DOE devices that were given to students. I'd like to know why access to LTE and Wi-Fi on DOE devices was cut off this summer. There was a message that was shared with some teachers, basically an update saying that DOE, funding is no longer available to provide LTE data services for centrally produced and distributed remote learning iPads and Chromebooks. There is more to that message. We don't have to go into that. The devices were paid for with capital funds, so maintaining the internet access seems like it would be the absolute least that the DOE could have done to keep our students connected and engaged, especially since so much of the curriculum is internet-based, it is online, and especially given that the curriculums for ELA, things like Common Lit, et cetera, with the city's push for building the capacity for our students for their literacy, making sure that they can read and write. There's so much of a push for that. So much of it is online. So can you explain to me why no one at DIIT or elsewhere within the DOE advocated for LTE access to be maintained over the summer?
Sorry, I was trying, I think there was just a new communication about that recently that I was trying to pull up, but I couldn't get it in time. We did advocate. I'm not sure how the final decision was made or what the final decision was made, but what I can do is again, like I said, there was just a brand new communication with an update about this, but I can find that for you once I get off this call, and I can share it. I can share it with this group so that we can, you can have all of the information about what that process was and why those decisions were made. But I believe there was an update to that decision. I'm just not 100% sure what it was. But I will absolutely find out, and I will bring it back to this group as soon as I can.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dull. I want to appreciate, I don't want to use the word bravery, but we can be a little bit passionate.
I was an assistant principal in a high school. I love my parents. So your passion is important and incredible and necessary. So, totally.
Thank you so much.
I understand. And I feel horrible that I just don't have more answers for you, but all I can do is promise that I will ask the questions. I will bring your feedback to the group. And Christina, I think would I share all that information with you to get back to this group? Would that be the best way to do that?
That'd be good.
That would be great. Also, I will share their email with you so that you can put us both on the email. That way everyone knows at the same time, even if I forward it again to them, is that I'll email you that.
Wonderful. In terms of the updates, I mean, Christina, I hope you can attest to this, that I get information as quickly as possible, and it's pretty quick. So hopefully in the next couple of days, I will get you whatever information. I will definitely bring this stuff back immediately, but all of the information I promise you, I will get back to you in the next couple of days.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. And thank you for coming on this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you. Have a good morning.
You as well. Bye, everyone.
Okay, so listen, I am going to share my screen because, you know, I kind of work hard on them. So we'll go back to what we need to discuss, right? But I just want to share my pictures. There we go. DIT, that was their thing. And transportation, and also remind me, and I see that Glenn is here from Office of Pupil Transportation. Glenn Richbrook is going to be here to talk us about transportation, the yellow school bus in particular. Is he still on? Mr. Richbrook, you have the floor.
I was muted. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You have the floor, sir.
Okay. Well, good morning, and I'm happy to be here with all of you. I wish it was to talk about the bus strike. I wish it was more of a happier occasion, but I do enjoy these meetings, and thank you for having me. I just wanted to give everyone a brief update. I think most of this information you may already have, but I just want to just let you know where the state of play is now with the potential bus strike. I just want to, again, just also go over the support that we're going to be having for our students, mainly those students that are most vulnerable, students with IEPs mandating transportation, foster care, temporary housing, and other students that have exception for busing. But again, right now, there's nothing that says that we don't know if there's going to be a strike at this point, but we are preparing ahead of time. And what we're doing is multifaceted. We have provided Metro cards, contingency Metro cards for all the impacted students in schools. That was already set. Those schools have those cards. They've been given instructions not to open them until the odd chance that the strike actually happens. So we have that first set of support. Then we have made available rideshare, prepaid rideshare for all our students that have mandated transportation in their individual education plans, students that are in temporary housing, students that are in foster care, and students that have an exception, approved exception for transportation. And that's not just to take the child from the student from home to school and back. It's a 4-trip that we're allowing, which will allow the parent or guardian that's accompanying the child to go on to their destination after they drop the child to school, be it work, be it wherever else they're going to be within the 5 boroughs. Then the car will pick them up in the afternoon and then bring them back to the school to bring the student home at the end of the day. So we're providing that sort of support. And we do understand that in order for anyone to take advantage of rideshare, an adult guardian has to travel with the student. So we're offering reimbursement to the same population of students that are eligible. We have expanded here at OPT the amount of personnel that is handling the reimbursement to try to lessen the time frame it will take from the request for reimbursement to when reimbursement is actually delivered. And along with those two, we are looking to turn over every stone and every stick to try to find whatever support that we can provide to lessen the impact that our families will have. We're currently talking with all the rideshare companies that we have in the city to try to leverage what's available to make sure that we saturate this as much as possible. So that is pretty much what we have as far as transportation support. All the schools now already have the name of every student that will be impacted on the routes. And again, for some of you that may not know, it's routes that are operated by ATU 1181, Local 1181, which is about 52 to 53% of all our routes, and is impacting as many as between 85 and 90,000 students at this particular moment. All the schools have the names of all the students that will be impacted, and on our website we have the name of the company's information of that will be impacted as well. So that's pretty much the state of play that we are. If there are questions, I'm here to answer if I can.
Anyone has questions for Mr. Richbrook? Okay, Adriana, District 28.
I see we're going in the same pattern we did last year. Hello, Mr. Risbrook. Thank you
Hello,
for
how
being
are
here
you?
with us this morning. I have one quick question
Sure.
for you, and I've asked a few different people in a few different places, and I haven't gotten anyone get back to me yet with the answer. The question is, what is the number of rides on each Metro card that is going to be distributed to students in the case that a strike is called? And how is it that those are going to be distributed? Are we giving kids a monthly Metro card with an unlimited number of swipes? Are we handing out regular NYC DOE Metro cards that have just 3 swipes? How are we ensuring that parents who have kids that go to school on one side of the district and then go to school in another borough are able to get their students on just 3 swipes to both of their schools and then get themselves to work, pick them up, etc.? Knowing the number of swipes would be helpful, and the way that those are going to be disseminated or distributed on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, that would be helpful too.
Yes, thank you for the question. These are separate from the student Metro cards. These cards have a time period during the day. I know it ends about, I think at 7 in the evening. I have to get back when they start in the morning, and they're operating all day. And we turn those cards off when the strike is over. So they will be able to swipe as many times as they need to go to wherever they need to go during the day, for back and forth to school. So there is no limit to like just the 2 swipes. So, and I think that answers that question. Was there another one that I just missed? Is that it? Okay.
Last call for questions, and if you think of something afterwards, you could put it in the chat and we'll forward it to our face liaison, who could forward it to Mr. Brooks. Can you put any contact information for the Office of Approval Transportation in the chat for us, please?
Absolutely.
I have a question. Is there a code that the school has to give the parent in order to get the ride share?
And in a NICSA account, there is a prompt to where a parent will go to that will give them the voucher code that they will use on the MOSIS website, or they can call them and book that way. There's an individual code for each student. If a family has multiple children, there's a code for each particular one that they will be able to get into their NICSA account. If they're having trouble with that, they can contact the school, and our transportation liaison would help them through that as well.
Thank you. Last call. Well, thank you for Mr. Grishbrook for joining us this morning from Office of Pupil Transportation. We're looking forward for updates and some collaboration and understanding of, and hopefully it doesn't go to a strike. We're praying for that because it will affect so many families. But
Absolutely.
We appreciate that you taking the time and speaking to us. Have a good morning, sir.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we are going to, let me see if we can, and we could always go back if I know the Chancellor will be here at 11. But we go now, one of our favorite segments on our meeting is to hear from from FACE. On the screen, you see the Deputy Chancellor is Kenita Lloyd, our Executive Director is Dr. Melendez, Deputy Executive Director is Jesse Mojica, and our FACE liaison from the governor's team, Anthony Settles. So at this time, I am going to give the floor to Christina.
Good morning, CPAC. I hope you can hear me. I haven't.
We can hear you.
Perfect. It is also always great to be here.
I feel like I've missed you, even though it's every month. But I'm excited that folks get all of their elections together so I could see more beautiful faces on the platform. That's just a plug for you. But that being said, I'll let Anthony Settle talk about all of those wonderful things. But I want to share that we are having a couple of things coming up around the right to read and the screening of that. We want to try and get everyone to sort of see that screening, so that information is coming soon. And I want to make sure that if folks are around and can make it to the local areas in their respective communities, that they come and they watch it and really focus, because it's really focused on why it's so important to make sure that all our children are reading, and it is the Chancellor's priority, as you all already know. There's a lot of other places that FACE will be outside at. And so as we get those things calendared, we also want you to feel free to come to support and share your experience with other parents. I think it's really important that we go places, but that you come with us, because I think it's where you can communicate the message better than we can around the power, privilege, and support that you provide every day to elevate all of the families in your schools and in your communities. So just know that we will be inviting you to those events, and if you can make it, we would love to share that platform and those spaces with you. And so with that, I will stay, of course, the whole time here for questions at the end, at the middle, or whatever, but I want to pass it over to Anthony, because our other commitment is to make sure that you are getting the information you need from us. And Anthony, of course, is the expert in all of our regulations, but particularly the ones that really truly affect all of the work that you do and guide the work that you do. And so we want folks to have access to him on a monthly basis here. And he's going to give you some really fun heads up, so that you all can support your PAs and PTAs in your respective districts. So with that said, Anthony.
Hi, everybody. How are you? It's so good to see so many of you. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Shirley, and other members of the executive team for CPAC. So some important dates that I want to just kind of pass by you. So we do have, and I want to let you know this so that you can touch base with your FLCs about bringing some of this training that we're giving to them to your constituents, both in your president's councils as well as your parent coordinators. So on September 11th, we are going to be hosting a training for FLCs on PA-PTA elections, the expedited elections. So any elections that are taking place in your districts, we're giving them a refresher course, and we're going to ask them to turn around and do the training for you as well. So that's on September 11th. So we had an office hour. I take that back. We had an office hour on that this past Monday, and September 25th, we're going to do an office hour on grievances. But we are giving them this information, and we're going to ask them to make sure that they're doing this in the districts as well. I wanted to bring some people up to speed on some town hall dates. So we have Districts 27's town hall will be next Tuesday. District 5 is going to be on October 3rd, and District 7 is going to be on October 24th. So those are the immediate upcoming town hall meetings, and then we have 31, 15, 11, and 3, and they're going to be held in November and December. But as we get closer to those dates, I will let you know those dates. October 9th, we're going to have a office hour for FLCs, and that's going to be on proposed budget and banking. And I know that that's going to hopefully be in time with a lot of your PAs and PTAs as they're looking to plan for the year around their own finances. I also know that Shirley, and you let me know. I know that you've got me on the schedule a little later on the agenda. And so we're going to just go over some roles and responsibilities of president's councils. And this is by way of reminder to everyone who's here of what we're all supposed to do in these regards. So the one thing I do want to say, before I give up the mic on this is, and I'm going to come back to it. Everybody, every president's council, every elementary school, every middle school, every high school must follow A660. No one is exempt from following A660. That is the document that all PAs and PTAs, all president's councils must follow. So I know this is no new news for many of you, reminders for some of you, and for the small few, this is brand new. So, but we will cover some of that in a little bit. I think I hit all the points that were on my talking points for the moment. And I know at towards the end of the meeting, Shirley wants me to do a little something more. Did I get that right?
Yes, but it's not Shirley, CPAC. What's your
CPAC.
It's CPAC. We have 2 minutes. I don't know if Melinda, Dr. Melendez want to add. Anthony, if you want to add something. Anybody has, you know what? 2 minutes. Questions for Face.
Yeah.
Before the Chancellor steps in. Everybody's probably needs some coffee.
Don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes.
Except for Adriana.
I'm with it.
So, District 28, you have the floor.
To be fair to everybody else, I've been in meetings since 6:45 this morning, so it's the afternoon for me.
There you go.
Is this the appropriate time to ask any questions that we had for Rux's team, or should we submit those via email? It is just one quick question. I don't mind sending it via email if it would be better answered by them since it's for them.
Yeah,
In my survey.
I think they're doing, they were on the platform, they shared that they're going to share their designations, right? Like which chief is in charge of which districts. And I think it's incredibly important to them. And of course, I'm sure for you all as well, to build your own sort of connections and relationships with them directly as they do the work to support superintendents in those districts and the principals that they support. That does not mean, again, that you can't send it this way. Sometimes a great way to do that is to send it to whoever the chief is and CC either Anthony or myself. And if you, then we can also be aware that it happened and that we can follow up. Sometimes they get everyone gets a million emails here. And so if you put 2 people on there from different spaces, we can continue to support the response or the speedy response. So I would say go in that direction. As soon as we get the chart, Anthony will share it with all of you.
And I just put my email in the chat for everyone. I know many of you have it, but it's not old yet.
Thank you both. Yeah, I'll wait for the organizational chart and then communicate directly. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Adriana, for your question. Maybe you can help us out. Who is New York City DOE? We need to know who's on our platform, who's calling themselves New York City DOE. I don't know if there's anybody from your team or the Chancellor's team, but usually their Chancellor's team, they have their names. So,
but is that me? Is this how I'm showing up?
Yes, it is.
Who's me?
My apologies. Hold on one second. I'll go on camera. Hi, this is Katie.
It's Katie.
The chief of staff for the Division of External Affairs. My apologies. I don't know why it's showing up that way today.
All right, thank you, Katie. That's all.
No problem.
Katie's our divisional chief of staff. She keeps us running over here in our division. I see that Emma was joining, and she'll be on along with the Chancellor.
Okay, I did see.
Yeah, I saw her, then I think she fell off. But anybody have any other questions? And Adriana, if you want to send me the question, it's fine. I don't mind taking a question. It's just.
I would say, so I see that Rosa posed a question in the chat. who is the Manhattan High School President's Council Liaison. Rosie, you could send the information to me if you have a question, and I will work with the new family support and the family liaison. I'm sorry, family leadership coordinator for Manhattan High Schools, as well as the family support coordinator for Manhattan High Schools to opt a response to you. So feel free to just let me know. I'm not sure that we will have anyone at the moment to join the meeting. If there's information that you need to have, please feel free to email me the questions or the request, and I will do my best to get an answer to you before your meeting.
All right, thank you. So while the chancellor is waiting, if nobody has any more questions, we're going to go back to our updates, right? So I'm going to share my screen again, and just I'll be sharing. So Randy, chancellor's team, let me know he's on, and then we'll stop and we'll hear from our chancellor. I think we were here. This was the last. So we're done with bylaws. So we're going to go real quick. So all our committees have meeting dates except for the Special Education Committee. They have not given us dates, but most of our committees have a regular schedule. We went over last month again. The first three already had their committee meetings for the month. So the next one that's coming up is the legislative on the 19th. The multi-language learners are having theirs on the 19th. The alumni committee is having theirs on the 19th. Title I had theirs on the 5th. Wellness had theirs yesterday. Capacity and communications was on the 5th. And high school committee met on the 8th. And again, the committees for those who want to sign up are on the website. President's Council, we went through this, we're going to bring it again. Key things, and since there are so many vacancies, it's the right, it's per the regs. President's Councils are supposed to be able to, or to help in the consultation on filling vacancies. They have the right to participate in the process of filling those vacancies and having the quarterly meetings with the Education Council. And if you want more, A660 Article 1, Section 3 lists all the regulations and also what the rights are and what should be happening between President's Councils and the Education Council. And the regarding vacancies, you can go to Chancellor's Regulation D140, D150, D160, D170, and D130, as they are repeatedly saying the same thing. Can somebody let DC Lloyd in?
I did.
All right, thank you. Any questions on that? Again, school website, let me know, Randy, if there's hands up or in the chat. Calendar, it's on the website. It's available in the 9 other languages that the New York City Public Schools have material information on. Please share it or direct your families to the website, right? Let's be nicer and just copy the link and share it with the families so they can see the calendar for the school year in their own language. Again, briefly, we talked about this last month. I actually got a text message 2 days ago about the pandemic EBT. Again, another $120 should be for New York City public school families. We have universal free meals here. So all students will be receiving, or families receiving the $120 per child in New York City public schools. It should be issued by December 31st. I'm hearing Chancellor's here?
Yes, he's here.
All right. So
No, I'm so sorry. This is Yvette Crespo. He's actually in the middle. We were at a school visit, so he's on. And now he asked me to please get on. Just want to say hello to everybody. As soon as he comes out the room, he will be right on. I apologize.
No problem. Thank you for the update. So we're going to we talk about this, but I think it's very important. Fine arts, I know in the budget that tends to be the first thing to go, right? So here's a free year-long after-school program. In this case, it's for high school students who are passionate about the visual culture and interested in exploring careers in the fine arts. This information is posted on the website. This was shared to our membership to share with the constituencies. This is a reminder, the deadline is September 24th. Our working groups, all the working groups, the A655 will be steadily going along there. We're trying to have it done by October 31st. That is the goal. It seemed like we are on task to meet that goal. And one of the main benefits we are looking for is those Title I schools that the Title I PAC chair, like I was saying before, will be a mandatory member, right? And then format it in a language that's easier, marking the A660 in sections and references that will be, bring it more modern, up to date, the A655. The other working group, special education, had ended, but there will be an update, but the updates are posted on that same website that I was sharing earlier. The forms, the decisions, etc., is on the school website. I know currently what is happening now, they're surveying the task force members about what was the conclusions, the suggestions, going forward, amendments in regarding special education. So that's what's happening right now, is a survey which is due tomorrow. Small class task force, they've been working throughout the summer as well, like the A655 on theirs, and their goal is to be done again in October. Hopefully we'll have one of the chairs to give us an update, what they can share with us at next month's meeting. And that's it for the updates that we have for to share with membership in the New York City Public School families. Can non-CPAC members, yes, the committees are open to the public. They are on the website. They must sign up. They must sign up for the committees and agree to the committee's rules and CPAC's rules and decorum of etiquettes, right, to join me. And once they join, then they will be provided the links when the meetings occur, and it will become a member. The links is only being provided to those who are actually on the committee. District 4 will have a welcome back to school September 30th. All welcome to join. Thank you, Rosa. She shared that in the chat. Any other issues you want to bring up as we are waiting for the Chancellor to start? Or we can, I'd rather not have Anthony Settle start, because I know we're going to have we want to have a fruitful and engagement conversation, right, for us. So any other issues, and while we have Face here, please take advantage. I mean, Christina, and I'm sorry, Dr. Melendez will be here to the very end. So let's take advantage. Okay, I see your hands up. I don't want to be doing all the talking. Can't be me, Randy, and Adriana. Let's go. Well, the hands went down.
It was my hand, Shirley.
Oh,
and I was just
okay.
playing with the buttons by accident.
Okay. No.
I did want to see if I could say something really quickly around just our A655 working group. I want to commend you all for being so diligent and committed to that work. It took a while to get us back on and up and running, but the cadence is every Tuesday morning, and you are showing up and making sure that all of your constituents' voices around some of the concerns with the regulation are elevated, and the regulation is updated in the ways that are more congruent with the times, right? Like when the regulations were written, they sort of, our system looked a certain way, and now that we've changed, it's time to update the language, as you said. And so we're excited to have CPAC representing in that space and doing it so diligent and so committed to that work. And so once again, I want to just say publicly, thank you. I see the Chancellor's ready, so I'll be quiet.
Yeah. So thank you for Chancellor for joining us. He is ready to join and have a conversation with us. So without further ado, we have our New York City Public School Chancellor, David C. Banks.
Yep, hi, everybody. I'm sorry. Schedule here, visited a school here on the Upper West Side, District 3, that is absolutely wonderful and amazing. Thank you. And as happens so often when I visit schools, 30 PS 84, and the kids just interviewed me on their podcast, and I saw their rooftop garden where they're growing all kinds of food and vegetables. Yeah. How are you? And have a great day as well. Thank you, everybody. So this is what it is, everybody. Generally, I'm seated somewhere, but this time, hi. I'm coming out of one of our. So I don't make any apologies for that. We've gotten off to a good start to the school year, and I'm making my way to another school visit now. But listen, we're going to be offering up next week the speech that I'll be delivering next week. Putting my seatbelt on here. By the way, if you're ever in the car, everybody, please make sure you strap on, keep yourselves safe. I never get in the car without putting on my seatbelt. And I will just say this to everybody. I feel good, really, really good about the beginning of this school year. There's a lot of good work that is happening. Nothing excites me more than the work that we're doing on reading. And so we're moving forward. It's going to be a great year. We are concerned about this potential bus strike. I will tell you that folks are still negotiating around the clock. Certainly hopeful that we will avert it. Certainly, I'm really glad that it didn't happen within the first week or so of school. But they haven't reached a deal yet. We got a solid contingency in plan, a contingency plan in place in case it were to happen. So we have to prepare for the worst, hope for the best, but still fingers crossed that things are going to work out well for all of us. And that's about it. I'd love to take if there's any questions, anything that anybody has that they'd like to ask. But I'm very hopeful as we kick off another school year. It's my second full year. And
I'm sorry, Chancellor, you're really choppy. You're probably going through a dead zone. I think he's frozen now.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
That is perfect.
Okay. I am moving though, so I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're used to your in constant movement. If you're not, it will be surprised. So thank you. So I'm going to give the floor to Randy first, and before to general members for a question.
Good morning, Chancellor Banks. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Randy?
Good. So on March 2nd, 2022, you stood in Tweed and you shared your vision for transforming and building trust in New York City public schools. And I was so impressed when the teleprompter went out and someone attempted to hand you a copy of your speech. And you're like, I don't need that. And you just continued like seamlessly. I was like really impressed. And you spoke about Pillar 4, which is engaging families to be our true partners, which in it of itself is a powerful pathway to building trust. You said you're going to continue engaging families in policy creations and implementation procedures at all levels. And you don't want to create policies where families have not been a part of the process.
Right.
Can you please stop this insanity with DIIT changing our DOE parent leader email addresses and have them leave our current at schools email addresses in place, please?
Okay, let me look into that then right away. And I want to make sure that we get on that, because if that's creating an issue and a challenge for parents, then I want to make sure that everything we do should be about making about making all of our systems parent friendly, and so let me just see exactly where we are with that, and we certainly get back to you on that for sure.
And Chancellor, I can just speak briefly to that, and
Yes.
I'm happy to circle and come back. And hi, all, Emma, Deputy Chancellor for Ops and Finance. Chancellor, this is related to the shifts we're making to improve our cybersecurity, given that a lot of our largest risks happen at the school level. So Randy, happy to follow up more there as well, but we've been putting in place a lot and happy to figure out what we can do.
So with no due respect, we had DIIT on our platform this morning, and we had conversations which we thought we had stopped, what we call the insanity. What is put in place here, DOE emails that belongs to the parent leaders or their entity, because it's not our entity, the PAPTA's President's Councils, which has tax ID numbers, under the law is considered a person. They're supposed to have their own email addresses. These email addresses been in existence for decades. The current breaches had nothing to do with those emails, right? It's go beyond that. We're not the cause. Some of the people on DIT, these emails are in existence longer than they've been in employment for New York City Public Schools. And never, ever once you heard that these emails are causes breaches to New York City Public Schools cybersecurity. And on top of that, the implementation of the new, what they are suggesting is in violation of the Chancellor's regulations that was just revised in November 18, 2021. We must use our entity email address. It has to be a DOE one. And we had suggested, if you must change the domain of the entities. If you must do that, not give individual parent leaders, which these financials, the money, the bank account, the association, President's Council, et cetera, don't belong to them. It belongs to the membership, right? And the membership is that entity. And that is what the problem is. We already updated those regs to make it easier for transfer of records. To do so in the beginning of the school year is a hardship for the families. If this had to be done, it should have been done at the end of the school year. Everyone already set it their meeting calendar dates, shared with families. This is like starting all over. And then all the work is going at the school level. We all still preparing for the school year. Short staff, not every school have enough staffing. So this is going to cause a lot of hardship. And if it has to be done, it should not be done in the beginning of the school year. Honestly, you know, if we were supposed to be working smarter. And why would you want to maintain triple, quadruple number of emails, right? And we gave the example, we have over 1,800 schools. If every person who's on the board gets it, so we're just going to say 3 mandatory members, 1,800 times 3. That's not just associations. That's not President's Councils and Title I and DPACs. It doesn't make sense. We want to be more effective.
Yep. Let me look into it. I'll get right back to you on it for sure.
So Veronica, thank you. Veronica, District 17, you have your hands up.
Oh, thank you, everyone, and Happy New Year, because it's our new school year. Happy New Year to all. Thank you. I'm so excited, looking forward to this school year and with all the plans that the Chancellor have. But it was just following up question. I know I spoke to at the last meeting asking you about a term limit for PAs and PTA. I was wondering if you were able to look into that. That's one of my questions. And another question was like, there are buildings that have 2 schools inside with only 2 agents. And we've been reaching out to everyone that we could think about to get more agents in our school. And it's been like all doors are closed. So I don't know if that's something you can help our schools with, having more agents in the building, especially when you have 2 schools in the building.
Yeah. So, Christina, I don't know if you want to speak to this issue around term limits for the PAs and PTAs, but I will tell you, you know, when we came in, at one point prior to the pandemic, we had about 5,100 school safety agents. When we came into office, they had lost about 2,000. So we were down to about 3,100. But since we've been here, we've got it up to about 4,100 now and still growing. A lot of times the elementary schools get just 1 agent, which definitely is not good enough. They always put more agents in the middle schools and the high schools. But every school, the goal is that every school should have at least the 2 agents. but we put the agents in the school based upon the number of kids that are actually in the building, not whether or not there are multiple schools in the building. So based upon a number of kids is where we try to place these agents. But we are still growing. We have a class of about another 250 agents that are going in, I think, next month. So we're still trying to get back to even the pre-pandemic numbers, but I think we need even more than that. It's interesting. I have a lot of folks who will say to me, we don't need more school safety agents. I disagree with that. I think that they play a very important role in keeping our kids safe. And most schools that I go to and most school communities say that they want to have more safety agents. Christina, you want to speak to a little bit about the issue around term limits?
Yes, Chancellor. Thank you. And so term limits, a lot of things are beeping here, but these are part of our regulations, right? So in order to change or make inherent changes into term limits or any composition, any of those things, we really have to look at the regulations and think about how we want to change, if at all. And so that requires just a whole process of getting ourselves together, creating a working group, really talking through and having a discussion across all stakeholders around what makes sense and hearing all the voices. And so we're currently revising A655. A660 went through something not so long ago, but that's where that one lives. And so we would have to convene everyone and really have a conversation across all of our parent leadership structures to see where that makes sense.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you so much, and I hope you guys will. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, Veronica.
President.
So now we have District 28, Ms. Alicia.
Thank you, Shirley. Good morning, Chancellor Banks. I have a single but two-parted question for you. A minute ago, you said that you were entering the school year and you weren't super concerned about much, which is fabulous. I have a question regarding your concerns around the mayor's looming budget cuts. And with that, I'd like to know if our teachers are going to be receiving their teacher's choice stipend this year. If they're not, why? And if they are, when can they expect that money?
Emma, you want to speak to that? I am concerned about these looming budget cuts. So when I didn't say I wasn't super concerned. What I was saying was that I'm always ever hopeful about the system itself. Every year brings whatever set of challenges that it brings, whether it's budget cuts or a pandemic or whatever it happens to be. There's always something that we've got to deal with. But I'm ever hopeful every year that we will do what we have to do to meet the challenge. The mayor has put out a call for multiple pegs that are going to be coming throughout the course of the year. That is a challenge. That is going to be a major challenge for us. Not quite sure just yet. We are crunching numbers and trying to figure out where some of these cuts will come from, not just for us public schools, but it's across all the city agencies. We're getting ready to head for some tough economic times. So yes, that does concern me significantly. I want to be very clear about that. But we're going to do everything we can to try to make sure we keep things moving forward in spite of the difficult challenges. It's not my decision to make cuts. If we have to make cuts because it's what we are as a city, I've got to do the best that I can with what I've got, and I'm going to certainly do that. And so, but specifically on the teacher's choice, Emma, you want to speak to that?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for the question. We are still planning moving forward with teacher's choice. We're really glad that up until this moment, we've been able to protect programs like that from our previous rounds of cuts. I will check in on timing and make sure we get back to you.
Thank you, Emma. I'll follow up with you in like a week or so if we haven't heard anything yet.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that.
I've got time, Shirley, for one more. I'm supposed to jump on 11:30 now. So if we got time, I've got time to get it.
No problem. I don't not see any other hands on questions or in the chat for anyone. How about you leaving us with a good word for the rest of the week? What you got for us?
Yeah, yes, I certainly hope that everybody will come out next Wednesday on the 20th at 9:30 at Boys and Girls High School. I'll be delivering a speech on the state of the public schools. You are all invited. We would love for you all to join us on that day. And we're gonna kind of give a little sense about, since we've been here, some of the things that we have in fact accomplished, where we're going. Scores are coming in now for the state results. We certainly hope to, at that point, be able to talk with some more specificity about where we are, where we stand, what progress has been made, and certainly the vision for going forward, the areas that we see as the priorities that we're going to be focusing on to deliver a solid education for each and every one of our kids. So I'll leave you with that. I think all roads point to Boys and Girls High School. Do a Bed-Stuy next Wednesday, 9:30 in the morning. We'll be there together with the mayor and a host of elected officials from around the city, and we certainly hope to see you all there as well.
Thank you so much, Chancellor, and thank you for taking the time for joining us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thanks. I just want to address something because what Veronica is bringing up is elections for PAPTAs is annual, right? What the term is, it's a 1-year term, right? But it's not a limit to that unless specific associations have that in their bylaws, right? What we want to change, and I think most of us are in agreement, to make the term a 2-year term. The current term is a 1-year term, right? But that's not term limits. A term and term limits is separate, two different things. Term limits means if you limit a term, meaning you only could run 2 years consecutively, or you could only run for a certain position for only 2 years or 3 years, whatever that association decides to make it. That's the difference between a term. Term is how long you hold that position. And currently, association positions are for a year. And we would like to make it, most parents would like to make it 2 years or biannual elections instead of annual elections. Thank you. At this time, we've been looking forward for this. And listen, I'm gonna have to share my screen, okay? Because I made a special slide for Mr. Settle here.
No.
He's going to talk about expedited elections, President's Council's roles and responsibilities, Settle's not so secret gems. Mr. Settle, you have the floor.
Thank you. Yes, let's start off with the most immediate thing, and that's going to be expedited elections. So expedited elections for both president's councils and PAs and PTAs. So president's councils have up until, what we really want you to do is get this done by the 30th of this month. So we are right now currently, and this is for any president's council that has not held their election as of yet. And I'll talk a little bit about that because I've got some things that I want to share about president's councils. But it's as quickly as you possibly can, let's get those elections up and running and moving. Work with your FLC and your superintendent to establish the date and the time of those elections, okay? So I'm gonna repeat that again. And for anyone who's not held any president's council that has not held their election, you wanna work with the FLC and the superintendent's office to establish the date and time of those elections. And then once those elections are completed, please send those certifications to me directly. And so that I can then file them in our system, as well as get them to Shirley and Randy so that CPAC can hold its elections when it's ready to do that. So there is always this trickle down effect on these things. And so we really want that to happen. Eligibility, who can run in a president's council election? Any newly elected member or president or designee from a PA or PTA within your district or in your borough if you are a high school. So let me repeat that. Eligibility is based on, as the regulation requires for all schools, A, that you have a child currently attending a New York City public school. So you are the parent and or guardian of a child of a child currently attending a New York City public school. That's the first criteria. Second criteria, you have been duly elected by your PA or PTA as the president or co-president of that PA or PTA, or you are the designated representative of that PA or PTA. You are the eligible members to run for an office position on your president's council. So those are the 3 basic points of eligibility to run for a position. Please remember, the term of office for PA-PTA or President's Council officer is currently 1 year, from July 1st until June 30th. If your PA or PTA or your President's Council did not hold an election by June 30th, your term has ended. You are not the president of that association or that council. That's the regulation. I do understand, and I'm going to touch upon this, that the regulation allows for a president's council to not to cease to function until September 30th has passed, if that president's council has not held its election. But that does not mean that that president's council has officers. So it's the reg. I say to FLCs, I say to PCs, I'm going to say it to you. I think you've heard me say this before. I've said it in council meetings. Keep calm and live on the reg. Right? When we ran the A660 working group, that was my phrase always: keep calm and live on the reg. That's the regulation. That's the document that we go by. That's the document that governs all of these processes. So please, and once you get your president's council's elections taken care of, please support your district in supporting those PA-PTA elections. It would be great. My dream for 18 years has always been that we have 100% compliance on PAs and PTAs in every school. That's always been my dream. And I'm still going to hold it as my dream. We're going to get it done, and maybe this is the year it happens. So please, once your president's council is up and running, or if your president's council is currently up and running, please offer your support to PAs and PTAs in the district or the borough in holding those elections and helping them to do that. So that's one of the primary responsibilities of president's councils, is to support the PAs and PTAs in your district or borough. So with that said, I want to just go over very quickly, and I know that Shirley has touched upon a lot of this. I've already sent to Randy and Shirley a 1-pager that they can share out with you. And that's some of the roles and responsibilities of a president's council. I'm getting old. I look younger than I am, but I occasionally have to help my eyes out when I'm reading something. So some key points that I think are really, really important for all of us to remember about president's councils, and also it flows into PAs and PTAs, right? So I always want to remind everyone, president's councils, along with PAs and PTAs, are independent, autonomous parent leadership structures, right? You have a certain level of autonomy. You control your own budget. You control your fundraising, except for the 2 in the year, right? And you work with your schools on that. You control how your membership interacts with you, how you communicate with them. So there's an independence. We tell principals and other administrators, your oversight is extremely limited. When it comes to your PA or PTA, I have said it to superintendents, when it comes to president's council, you run your shows. But of course, we want you to run your shows within a guidance of a framework. And that framework is A660. And so every PA, every PTA, every president's council must comply to Chancellor's regulation A660 and your bylaws. Those are the 2 documents that govern everything that you do. No one is exempt. You don't get a pass. We don't fall under A660 because it doesn't apply to it does apply to high schools. We don't fall under because it doesn't apply to middle. It does apply to middle schools. We don't fall because we're not everybody. No one is exempt from A660. I want to be really, really clear about that. And A660 has really strong language around eligibility. Please pay attention to that. Who is an eligible member of your association? Who is an eligible member of your President's Council? A parent of a child currently attending a New York City public school. There's no way around that. A parent and or guardian, no way around that. And the definition is in the document. So please pay attention. One of the things that I ask FLCs to do, and I'm going to ask all of you to do it as well, download the reg. Download the reg, mark it up. My reg, I have a binder. I highlight. I use Post-it notes. You think that you would look at my copy of the regulation and think it's the most colorful thing on the planet because I'm always highlighting and making notes. I know a lot of people say that I'm the guru, I'm the expert, I'm the guy who knows A660 backwards and forwards. I'm not any of those things. What I am is a guy who can read. And if I can read it, you can read it. If I can know it because I've read it, you can know it because you read it. And for you and for me who are in these positions, in these situations, for us to say, well, I don't know, is really not that good of an excuse. If a PA or PTA in your district or in your borough gets themselves into trouble and you go in to help them and they say, well, I didn't know, you're going to say, well, didn't you read A660? It's right there. So I'm saying it to you. Download a copy of it, put it in a binder, mark it up, put notes. I've just read it over and over and over again, and I had the pleasure of working with Randy and Shirley the last time around to revise A660 and make some, I thought, some significant good changes that enabled you to do the work that you're doing better. And so you just read it and you get to know it. You read the same passages over and over and over again. Pretty soon you don't have to read it anymore because you know it. So please do that. Please provide assistance to your PAs and PTAs. Yes, each of your districts and your boroughs have, and your high schools have a family leadership coordinator, but that's one person. You have a whole team of people with you on your boards, as well as your constituent groups. So please provide them with the assistance. Help them to understand what it is they can do, what it is they can't do, what they should do, what they shouldn't do, right? Help them to do the work that they do better. I look at many of you who are sitting here at CPAC, and I actually stand in awe because so many of you have such great, effective practices that I wish we could replicate that all across the city. Whether you are running a bylaw workshop for your PAs and PTAs, or you're doing a financial training, or you're reaching out to the banks in your community, in your districts to say, hey, we've got a bunch of schools. What can you do for us? I think that's powerful, right? That's really power. So provide assistance. You're not only must comply to A660, you have to comply to all laws, rules, policies, state, federal, local. So make sure that you're not running afoul of those things. If you are a 501c3, please understand that you are required to follow certain financial rules that are in place for 501c3s. You can't get around that. And I don't want anybody getting themselves into trouble because they run afoul of the IRS or they run afoul of some financial law. Function in a way that respects yourselves, that respects your constituents, your students, and your staff. There's a way that we should conduct ourselves publicly. We are, for better or for worse, we're all public figures right now. And so we ask that you keep that in mind when you're speaking to your constituents, when you're interacting with staff, and when you're around students. Be respectful. If you have not had the opportunity to revise your own bylaws, please do so. Please make that one of the top priorities of your administrations this year, early. Your bylaws are your day-to-day operational documents that tells me, that tells everyone what it is you do and how you do it, right? So the example I always use is PAs and PTA, A660 requires that you meet monthly but it doesn't tell me or anyone else what day of the month and what time. Your bylaws tell me that. So your bylaws further tell us or further define your processes that A660 does not. I talked about the election of officers. Constituents, please make sure that you're notifying your constituents within the right and proper time. 10 days, 10 calendar days before you do anything. Just please, it's just make sure that you're within that zone every single time you put something out. Elections. No one's election on a PA or PTA or President's Council can be conducted in a hybrid format. We allow the hybrid format for your meetings, for your convenience, but we have yet to work out all the kinks that a hybrid meeting could cause during your election. And the one thing that we always want to avoid as much as possible are grievances. We don't want you being grieved. We don't want your PAs and PTAs being grieved. So in person or fully remote. Those are the two acceptable ways under this current regulation that you can conduct an election. Next time we convene a working group to look at A660, we may be able to figure it all out. But until then, in person, fully hybrid, and we've been able to work out all the kinks for those situations. Some officer responsibilities. Make sure you, yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add about the grievances. Many a times folks want us to run elections. Can FACE come and run the election? And unfortunately, we may have in the past, but we need to stay away from that because we are your appeal, right? So we can't kind of be in the mix of all of it because then who do you appeal the grievance to? So I just want us to be mindful that it's really, really important that CPAC continues to support these local elections and the FLCs, and that we can support you in figuring this stuff out, so that if there is some sort of grievance and an appeal to the grievance, that then we are sort of able to be fair and honest in that process as well and see all parties for what the case is, as opposed to, oh, we were there, this happened. It sort of taints the lines or blurs the lines. So I just wanted to bring that up right here, the importance of really getting this as right as possible, knowing that life happens.
And I also think that if you,
I'm sorry, Anthony, could you say your phrase again? Stay calm.
Keep calm, keep calm, and live on the reg.
And the regs tells us who can do elections. It's very clear. There's no ambiguity to that, right? It's very clear who can conduct elections.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah. So your bylaws also help us to further define all of that information, right? So this is my big plug for the bylaws, right? Your bylaws are required to be reviewed and revised every 2 to 3 years. President's Council and PAPTA every 2 to 3 years, or upon the revision of A660. So A660 was revised in November of 2021. We're now in 2023. If you've not revised your bylaws in that timeframe, please make that a priority for your council. Please make that priority for your schools. I remember when I first started in this world about many, many years ago, a few moons ago, that one of the things that many president's councils and many FLCs, we were DFAs or parent support officers in those days. One of the things that they did was they had copies of everybody's bylaw. So please, that's a good practice for a president's council to have. It's a great way to support the PAs and PTAs in your district. If you have a copy of those bylaws, you can help those associations, right, to stay on track. Review and revise them when needed, or if you're looking at them and you're pointing out some incongruity between the reg and their bylaws, you can help them fix that, right? I know Randy is always talking to me about the bylaw review that she does with her PAs and PTAs. in her district. It's a great practice. It's an effective practice. It's something I encourage all of you to do. If bylaw review is a topic that you want me to cover, we can do that so that you have the tools. I would probably take a backseat to Randy because I think she does it a whole lot better than I do, but, or Shirley. I know Shirley does it as well, but that's a great way to support your PAs and PTAs in your districts. My vanity is coming back into play, sorry. The one thing that I would always say that gets people into trouble is, well, we've always done it this way, or that's what I thought. As President's Council presidents and representatives, please provide your PAs and PTAs with correct information. Part of the reason why I download a copy and print it out and highlight it and make notes is because I don't want to give someone incorrect information. When you ask me a question, I want to have the strength to know that what I am saying to you is what we've said in the reg, right? And even I will go back to the reg and review and reread a section if I think that I might not be absolutely correct, or even if I think I'm correct, I'll just go back to make sure that I am correct. As I said before, I'm not any great guru when it comes to regs. I'm just a guy who can read. And if I can read it and know it, anyone can read it and know it. And so that's my plug for that. To keep calm and live on the reg and just read it. Give opportunity to your superintendents to provide a report at your meetings, right? We say this to PA and PTA folk all the time. Let the principal speak at your meetings to share information. The same things should be true at the district level. Give the superintendent or the superintendent staff an opportunity to come in and talk about initiatives in the district, to talk about data in the district, to talk about anything that's going to impact your son or daughter who's in a school. You want the person who's leading that work to come and talk to you about that. So give them some space in your meetings to do that. Let your members pass on information in a timely fashion to your own members. Have people from your community come in and talk about their programs that could support students, that could support families. That's a great way. It's a great way of making what you do relevant to the people you're doing it for, right? I think that people always ask me, Mr. Settle, what can I do as a PA or PTA to get people to come to my meeting? And the one thing I have said for 18 years is relevant. Be relevant. At the PA PTA level, if the only thing that you're talking about is graduation for 10 months, then you're only talking to the smallest portion of your population. And you're talking to the population of students and families who are going to leave your building at the end of the year. Talk to the folks who are just coming in, talk to the folks who are going to be there, and talk to the families who are going to be leaving at the end of the year. But you got to talk to all of them. You got to present things to all of them that matters. If I'm a third grade parent and you're talking about the 5th grade graduation, you're not talking to me and you're not talking to me about my kid, right? And when my kid is ready to graduate, then I'll come to the meeting. Relevance. So bring in community members, bring in CBOs to talk to your constituents about programs that are happening in the district, and be that example. My other thing that I really want to hone in is the maintenance of records. Records is the story of your council. It's the story of your PA or PTA. And very often someone's going to need to see those records for whatever reason. You may need it to help build out your budget. We may need it to understand what you've done. A bank may need it to make sure that your finances are in order, particularly if you're a 501c3. You've got to, there's a reporting schedule that you have to maintain, and you got to do that, but you can only do that when it comes to maintaining your records, and your records have to be maintained for at least 6 years. And meet quarterly with your CECs. That's one of the obligations, both on their part as well as your part, so that you meet quarterly. Fundraising for President's Councils. President's Councils can fundraise. But if you're fundraising, just like with the PA or PTA, you must have a bank account. You cannot fundraise without a bank account. So If you have bank accounts, if you're doing fundraising, A660 does require that you have a bank account, and PAs and PTAs are required to have bank accounts as well in order to do fundraising. Some of the hardest situations I have faced in this role is trying to help a PA or PTA that is doing fundraising but doesn't have a bank account. We don't want money being kept in a drawer, in the desk or in the file cabinet. It just creates so many issues that we don't want anyone in. And so if you're fundraising, get a bank account. If you're a PA or if PAs or PTAs in your district are having difficulty getting bank accounts, then that's where I think you can play a huge role in helping them to secure one and finding a bank that will work with them. I have made this suggestion, and it's so much easier for you to do it than it is for us to do it, because if we do it, there's a whole lot of hoops and other offices that we have to tie in. If you do it, again, that's where that autonomy and independence comes into play. Find 3 banks in your district, 3 or 4 banks in your district. Have a banking forum. Make them come in and make them tell you what it is they can do for your PAs and PTAs in the district. Make them, I always make them work for your money. Don't just willy-nilly give your money away to some bank. Make them work for it. Make them give your PAs and PTAs a good rate. Make sure that they understand A660. I think that's the power that you have collectively. And so that's all the things that I have in my notes. If you want to know the section of A660, the current document that pertains to President's Councils, it's section 2, page 30. That is the section for President's Councils, section 2, page 30. The first part of the document is all PA PTA, and then the third section is all on finances. So that's how the document is broken up. But please take the time, print it out, mark it up, put notes, post-its, however you want to. If you want to have a separate page where you write whatever it is that you're going to do to make it easy for yourself to become the expert on this, please do it. And encourage your PAs and PTAs to do it as well, right? No one should, we put it all in black and white. No one should not know. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, help me to understand this paragraph or this line, as opposed to, I don't know what it is, right? So I'm going to say this again. It's maybe self-effacing, but I'm going to say it again. I'm not some extraordinary superhuman being with superpowers when it comes to A660 or A655. I'm just a regular guy who can read. And if I can read it and know it, you can read it and know it, and so could the presidents and executive boards of your PAs and PTAs in your districts. It's what I tell the FLCs to do every single time I see them. Read the document. Read A660. You'll know what to do. And then if you don't know what to do, then we can have a conversation. But read the document. I'm going to shut my mouth for a minute. If there are questions, I'll be glad to answer as many as I possibly can, or as many as I'm allowed to. And I could pull out my document if I need it, but it's right here, so it's not that far away.
So before we go,
Shirley, before I say that, I also want you all to know, Shirley and Randy have the PA PTA President's Council superpower in knowing the reg, because they will tell me what's in the reg before I go reach for it. So if you need a superhuman being with knowledge of the reg, you have 2 that are your own. So like I said, I'm just a guy who can read. No, nothing extraordinary about that.
thank you so much for that, Anthony, for not so secret gems. And thank you for the praise. And we all, the way we are knowledgeable is actually performing PDs for our President's Council, continuing, refreshing, attending PDs ourselves, which all of us should be doing, right? Because one of our roles and responsibility is to develop leadership opportunities and to empower our families. And by doing so is having PDs of our own. But like I said, I'm going to keep quoting Sonia, work smarter than harder. align with your family leadership coordinator. They are there. They are required to do PDs as well. So collaborate, do a joint venture. It's all about teamwork. It's the dream work, right? Something to that effect, right?
Shirley, if I could, because I have to make a shameless plug since I keep saying I'm just a guy who can read.
Go
right?
ahead.
So we have this literacy program that the chancellor is initiating in our schools and across our city. So one of the things I think that would be really, really strong and helpful for your councils, right? Talk about relevance, right? Talk about relevance. Have the superintendent talk about New York City Reads. Have them come in all year long, give you updates on New York City Reads. Where is your district in literacy? Where are your schools in literacy? What programs are they using? What curricula are they using? What things can parents do to help their sons and daughters, if they're not reading on grade level, to get to grade level? If they are reading on grade level, how can I help my kid get to the next grade level so that they're reading at a higher rate, at a higher level than before? You know, when I was a kid, right, and there was always that commercial that would come on, that PSA, reading is fundamental. If you take a look at a school, the one thing that every class does in every subject matter, in every activity, they read. You want to be of great support in terms of understanding A660 for your PAs and PTAs? Read the reg. Your PAs and PTAs can host reading nights, encourage reading libraries, work with the library in your community, the public library, have them come in and talk about the books that they have in their children's sections, talk about the books they have in your sections. I mean, I've been reading these great murder mysteries. Not that I'm trying to plan anything. I'm not trying to plan anything. I just like a good English murder mystery because I think they do so well with it. But I've been reading a whole bunch. I've read 4 this year alone. Read. That's our centerpiece right now. Read.
Thank you. I don't know, Christina. I think you better watch your back. So wait.
No. I just like
I'm
a good.
teasing.
I just like to
teasing
solve
you.
a good mystery. Actually, I like the book to solve the mystery. I wait for the guy to say, "This is how it was done," in that beautiful English voice, you know. So, but it's all about it's the one thing that we all have to do to get through our day, right? Is to read. So make that a centerpiece of your council meetings. Have your PAs and PTAs make that a centerpiece of their meetings. You'll get people to come again because it's relevant to what's happening right now.
Thank you. Adriana been very patient, but I'm going to ask you to hold off one more minute, right? Because Anthony reminded me one piece of update or reminder. The annual financial report, it was due. It was due for PAPTAs in June for your principals, president's councils, for the superintendent's office. You know why this is important? Because they input the information into the computer. Unless you're a 501(c), technically they're doing the taxes for us. It's important that we are giving that information and that update that Randy said, like we have over 6 million. That's how they know. That's how they keep track. We said 6.1 million. I see.
$61 million.
$61 million in fundraising, in bank accounts and presidents, associations and president's council, which is wonderful. But we need to keep track. They're doing our taxes for us, so we don't have to. That is a way they're making it easier for families, right? So it's important that we send them in a timely manner. So if you haven't done so, go back to your constituents, your members, make sure they have done so, because I know that some of the parent coordinators and FLCs and the designees are inputting them into the computer if they haven't done so already. So thank you. Adriana, you have the floor.
Adriana, please make it a soft question.
Anthony, I am going to softball this one because I also love a color coordinated situation.
There you go.
And I also believe that reading is fundamental.
Yes.
So assuming that our administrators can read, is there going to be, I'm gonna softball this. Too many administrators are way too involved in what PAs and PTAs are doing, to the point that they're stifling efforts, individual efforts and efforts as a group, the PA and PTA. This has to stop. And again, assuming that our administrators can read, is there and when will there be a training specifically for administrators to outline their limited roles with respect to PAs and PTAs, especially when it comes to election processes, which is exactly what you were talking about earlier. Access to school buildings, access to place to store sensitive information, sensitive files, or even just things like props for a fall festival. A lot of our PAs and PTAs are currently struggling under the thumb of their respective administrations. And within my personal district, I have seen multiple times and heard from multiple different groups of parents that their administrators are the blockade to their success. So I would like to know when FACE or the DOE or UFT, somebody is going to have this kind of training for the administration.
Wow. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna allow my boss to speak to that one.
That was a soft one. I appreciate
So
it.
sorry, guys.
We tag teamed. He was like softball it and then gave it to me anyway. Adriana, I think that's I love the way you said it, not because you were tracking it in any way. Like I think that's something that we hear often, more often than we would want. I wouldn't say that that's the majority. We do have thousands of students and principals and lots of schools, right? So, but it happens, period, right? And that's really important for us to figure out. I think you shared some, I was like immediately thinking, oh, we should really just do that. And then I'm like, oh, we should really just partner with other folks to do this together. There's power in the together piece. So I really like the fact that you brought in, you said something about who's going to do this, right? And immediately I was like, oh, I should partner with CSA, and I should partner with maybe even UFT, and I should partner with DC 37, of course, but maybe we can do something collectively where we're all, and of course DSL and FACE over here, but we should really do something collectively where we all understand the regs, right? And what does this autonomous thing mean across all of our leadership structures? Because that sort of gets lost in the sauce sometimes, and folks don't really understand what that means, right? Like sometimes I get questions from principals about like, there was a fundraiser and I don't know where that money is. And I'm like, you shouldn't. And so there's real need and appetite, I think, for principals to do this right. They just don't know what that is. And so they're left to their own devices. And I think we all owe them the benefit of the doubt that we just haven't shared that with them explicitly. And I think another group of folks that I want to partner with, and I'm gonna invite you openly here, Adriana, is for you to come on, right? Like for parents to sort of share that message. So in that professional development, it works both ways. But in that professional development, having parents really communicate some of the dynamics and scenarios that do happen, right? I think is very powerful. I can say some principals do this and some, it's not the same, right? When you say, this was my lived experience in my school. So doing it together, I think holding some space for grace, holding some space for understanding that we just haven't done that in a while. And the expectation is that they read the regulations and that they know Chancellor's regs. That's part of everyone's job here. But there's also hundreds of kids in my school on a day-to-day basis that I have to take care of, right? And so sometimes we just get in the shuffle of school started. So I take that, I own it. I want to tag you into the planning process of that alongside of us, and really do that well, and do that repeatedly, and maybe record it somewhere so that it can also be shared in an onboarding process, or summertime, or end of the year sort of, or beginning of the year for school leaders. So FACE has a team of folks who is like the homeschool partnership team, and that's the work. They do a lot of work interfacing with principals and superintendents with the goal that they fully understand what engaging and truly partnering with families looks like, because that's just in general another space that sometimes we're not as forthcoming. You know, what are best practices? And so we are left to our own devices on engagement, and sometimes it leads to potlucks and talent show invites, right? And there's so much more that families want to do, can do, and have done in all of our communities, that principals will always say it's the most impactful thing that happens this year. It's when they do this, and it's always family related or parent leader related. And so I want to encourage that. I want to support that, and I want to empower people. And one thing that Anthony Settle says to all of us all the time, it's like, I like the regs because it keeps us honest, it keeps us real, and it just creates the parameters for how we engage, right? It's the rules of engagement. And some people fear regs, but they actually are just the most helpful, useful tool that we have across all of everything. And so I appreciate it, I welcome it, and I am going to create some sort of small committee within our team and solicit some CPAC support so we can do this really well. Thank you, Adriana.
I would also add to that, Adriana, is that, you know, one of the things that the regulation does ask, right, of the executive board of the PA or PTA and the administration, it asks similar of President's Council with superintendent, right? It's to meet on a regular basis, you know, and that's that opportunity for someone to say, this document says that we can do this, or this document says that you do this, or this document says we do this. I mean, that's that time to keep those lines of communication. I can't tell you the number of schools that I hear from on both sides of that table, right? That they're at some sort of tension. And my first question is, well, when was the last time you met with them? When was the last time you met with your principal? And a lot of times it's, I've never met with them. Well, you know, A660 says to meet, so schedule that meeting. But that's that time, because I do think there's shared learning, right? There's shared responsibility in all of this. There's shared learning. Yeah, we could say a principal's supposed to know, but you know, a principal is just as human as our PA or PTA presidents, right? And so how many of our own folk don't know the regulation that governs them? So that's the great time to say, hey, this is what the document says. I also think in working with your superintendents as President's Council presidents, right? To ask for, hey, this is an issue that we're seeing in the district and many of our schools. Can we help to address this as President's Council? Because there's a knowledge base that we know that they may not know. And so we want to share that information. We want to share knowledge with them so that our schools are going to be functioning at a high level. I think communication is so key to so much of this. And yes, I think there's some things that we could probably do in connection with DSL and some other offices or other opportunities, and some of our teams that do go out. I think there's a lot that can be done. We just need to be able to sit down, come together, and figure it out. But I think there are things that can be done even at the district level. President's Council presidents, you're sitting at the tables at DLT meetings. You have those meetings with your superintendents. You should be meeting quarterly with your CEC counterparts. And so these are opportunities where these issues can be raised and addressed even at the local level before they bubble up to here. But yes, we will, as my fearless leader has said, we will figure this out. We'll figure it out together, right? So, but yes, so thank you for the softball.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Thank you for always being here. Any more questions? We're still got some time, but any more questions? Besides, again, me, Randy, Adriana. I know some of you are at work, but you could put it in the chat like Rosa has been doing. Yeah, Rosa's laughing. So, and we really, really appreciate, this is one of our responsibilities as presidents of President's Council to be here at CPAC. And I very happy to see y'all being here. And then we have quorum in August this month. Thank you so much for being leading for example. I've been preaching this for forever. We need to lead by example, because we could talk till we're blue in the face, but people are paying attention to our actions. And so if we want our membership or our schools, our PAPTAs, we have to set the example. And I appreciate every single one of you and everyone who does that. Thank you so much. Anything else? Randy, you could talk that. Won't you just say that instead of putting it in the chat, and then we're going to round this off, because, I always complaining, I'm talking. So Randy,
Right,
talk.
you talk and then I do the work in the background and I write it in the chat. No, I just said that I think that this year, we're off to a great start and we have some really great ideas for creating a positive and welcoming environment while empowering and supporting parent leaders. So
Awesome. So at that note, I am going to share my slides again so we can end it up. So reminder, next month is our elections. Our election committee is set. We have Francis Gonzalez as the election chair, Gladys Gomez is the note taker, Maddie Gonzalez is the timekeeper, and Charlene Dawson is going to do the tech for our elections for October 12th, which is our next CPAC meeting. And it will be, we're going to start elections. We're aiming for 12 p.m. Again, I said it, Thursday, October 12th is our next elections for those who celebrate Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which September 25th is no school. Enjoy your celebration, be healthy and prosperous. And thank you for everyone that's coming at this time. And I remember, please, someone in our membership, bring our meeting to an adjournment. I know you love my
Make
voice.
a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right, thank you, Rosa. And who will second that motion? Man, high schools, who's seconding?
I'm gonna do it. I second the motion.
Thank you. So our meeting is officially adjourned as of 12:15 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our guest speakers. Thank you for the great partnership with FACE. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And I know most of us are usually in conversation with each other anyway, but enjoy. Good day, everyone. Christina, I always love seeing your beautiful face. You're always smiling.
Shirley, the live stream is still on.
Oh, yeah.